So we are recording. Right. Hello, everyone. Should I open or Jonas, you can open today?
Yeah, I can open. Hi, everyone.
Yeah, go ahead.
Super awesome to see you all here. Thank you all for joining the Contour office hours. And we're using this office hours as a kickoff for the Contour Tech Docs working group. A lot of you have signed up for told us that you would like to volunteer to help out with the technical documentation for Contour. Thank you so much. I think many of you probably saw the Reddit post that we did. Apparently, that's a really good marketing tool. So for this kind of technical writing, so we'll definitely remember that for other open source projects as well that we have, where we would definitely like some help. So the context of this is that Contour is an open source project, and Alex is going to talk a little more about Contour itself. But it's an open source project. It's part of the CNCF, the Cloud Native Computing Foundation. And a couple of months ago, we had a technical docs assessment done. So we looked through all of our documentation, saw what could be improved, and we figured this is a great way to invite the larger community of technical writers to help the open source project here, and hopefully get some of you to stick around for a long time with the project. That would be fantastic. We definitely want more technical writers within the open source community. Documentation is critical for open source projects. And if you have looked at the assessment already, you can see that the documentation is good, but it might be a little chaotic at times. It might also be that you can't find the right thing easily. So we definitely want you to take a look at this and see if you can help us out. Within the HackMD that I linked here, I'm going to link it again for the recording too. Within the HackMD, I've listed out a bunch of really good first issues as well. Good first issues within open source projects are issues that we feel are good for someone who wants to contribute to a project for the first time. It might be, some of them are pretty quick and easy. So for someone to get involved with the project in an easy way, do a few minor edits and fix things up. Those are available there. And we also have a few longer ones, a few larger ones that require some coordination with the team. So if you would rather do a larger one and get a little more involved, those are available too. So please take a look at the good first issues there. But before I go on, I want to do a quick round of introductions here. So I would love to hear who you all are, who you are, where you're coming from, if you have any affiliation, if you're working at a current organization, and also how your experience within technical documentation. So I'll start. I'm Jonas Rosland. I'm the head of community management here at VMware. I manage a bunch of community managers. Orlin Vasilev, who is the community manager here for Contour, is one of them. So I'm here setting this up and yeah, just helping out. Next up on my list, I'm going to go in the participant order here. Next up on my list is, let's see, Arthi.
Hi. I'm Arthi, and I am working at VMware. So I manage the Contour engineering team. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you, Arthi. Next up, I have Orlin.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Orlin. I'm in Europe, Sofia, Bulgaria. I'm the community lead for Contour and also for Harbor. So you're gonna see my name if you want to join other projects as well. So I'm gonna facilitate most of these meetings in general and help out with everyone who is willing to join us in this effort, and not only this, but any effort around Contour to set up your environment, to get to know the set of GitHub and everything pretty much about the project. So next one, choose Derek Chu.
Hi, my name is Derek. I currently have no affiliation, but I'm midway through a technical writing certificate and trying to gain some experience. Hopefully I'll have fun working with you.
Awesome. Thank you, Derek. Next up, I have Gabrielle.
Hi, guys. My name is Gabriel. I'm a recent graduate in English literature, and I just want to get some experience for, writing technical documentation and things like that. So it would be interesting to affiliate myself with a group and get started. So, thanks.
Sounds great. Thank you. Next up, we have Jess. And hear you, Jess, if you're,
Hello.
There we go, perfect.
Yep, I just had to unmute it. My name is Jess. I'm from Florida. I work as a content writer, but I would like to get into technical writing. So I saw this post on Reddit and thought the mentoring would be very, very helpful for somebody like me who's enthusiastic but needs some direction.
Fantastic, thank you. Next up, we have John Case.
Hi guys, I'm John. I currently write support docs for my company, but I want to get some experience with open source and with docs as code. And so I responded to Jonas's post on the Write the Docs Slack. Really looking forward to working on the project.
Awesome, thank you, John. Next up, I have Max.
Hi, Max. I'm currently halfway through a technical writing degree at the University of Minnesota, and I'm hoping to get some experience with open source and like real world tech writing. So I'm really excited to join.
Cool, thank you, Max. Next up, we have Micaiah.
Hi, I'm Micaiah. I'm based in North Carolina, East Coast, US. Work for Red Hat on ingress-related things in OpenShift, which is our Kubernetes distribution.
Awesome, thank you, Micaiah. Next up, we have Narayan.
Hi, I'm Narayan. I work for JFrog from Bangalore, and I've been interested in Kubernetes, and I want to explore more with the docs as code, and I'd like to contribute to the project.
Fantastic, welcome, thank you. Next up, we have Rasa.
Hi, all. My first name is actually Istvan, but I know it can be confusing.
Sorry.
It's okay. So I am a tech writer at the moment, but more in the traditional sense. So I have to create all sorts of documentations and not really software documentations. And I would really like to expand my horizon and get to know this type of documentation creation.
Fantastic, welcome. Next up, we have Robin.
Hello, I am based out of Virginia. I am a junior tech writer working in the manufacturing industry, doing government contracting for the Department of Treasury. I'm looking to get more experience with open source projects and doing some software tech writing.
Awesome, that sounds great. Thank you. Next up, we have Steve Chris.
Hi, everyone. I'm Steve Chris. I'm a software engineer at VMware, and I'm a maintainer on the Contour project. I've been working on the project for about a year now, and it's great to see all these new faces who are interested in coming to work with us.
Awesome. Next up on my list, I have Abby as well.
Hello, everyone. I am Abby. I work at VMware, and I'm part of Jonas's team. I'm actually a technical writer helping open source projects write documentation. So it's really, really exciting to hear everyone who is looking to help out with this project, especially people looking, going through education or whatever to getting into the field. So it's really exciting to hear and welcome.
Thank you, Abby. Next up, I have Steve Slocum.
Hey folks, yeah, I'm Steve. I'm on the East Coast in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I work for VMware. I'm an engineer here, and I've also a Contour maintainer, and I've been here since pretty much the start of Contour. So nice to see y'all here.
Thank you, Steve. Next up, Toby.
Hi everyone, I'm Toby. I'm based in Edinburgh in Scotland. I have a background in English language education, and I've just completed a certificate in technical writing, looking to get some experience.
Fantastic, welcome. And next we have Wiley.
Hi everybody, I'm Wiley. I graduated with a degree in English literature from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. I'm based in California, and I'm looking to be a technical writer. So I'm looking to get some experience on an open source project. And this looks like a great opportunity. I'm excited to be here.
Fantastic, thank you. Let's see, I think that's everyone. And then we have Alex.
Hey everyone, I'm Alex. I am a PM working for VMware, and I work on Contour, one of the maintainers for the Contour project. Yeah, so today I'll be talking about, just give you a brief intro of what Contour is, and see if this is something you'd be interested in helping us with documentation on. So thanks.
Yeah, so thank you everyone for the introduction here. And Alex, yeah, if you want to go ahead and do an introduction of Contour, that'd be great. I think, Toby, can you please mute as well? Just want to make sure everyone's muted.
Yeah, Jonas or Orlin, can you help drive the deck? I have a
maybe Orlin can do that.
Prepared.
Yeah, I can share the which
Awesome.
one?
I just sent it to you on Slack. It's called
Okay.
Contour/_TechWriter.
Right. Okay. Give me a sec.
How much time do I have, Jonas?
You got like 10-15, I think. Would be a good
cool.
introduction.
Yeah, that's plenty of time.
Almost there with the PowerPoint. I'm sorry. And Jonas, you have motorcycles around you. I have kids, so sorry if you can hear them.
No, can't hear anything, so it's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Where's the PowerPoint? Okay.
Perfect.
Can you? Yeah, and slideshow and play.
Looks good.
All right. Yep. Thanks, Orlin. All right. So yeah, let's get started. So first of all, thanks everyone for attending. Who knew on Red Hat or Reddit would be such a good source to get people to contribute. So thanks for attending. I'm gonna be talking about, just spend a couple of minutes and tell you what Contour is. See if this is interesting to you. So Contour is an open source ingress controller for Kubernetes. It's based on Envoy. If you don't know what ingress controller is, it's basically it's a way to control how traffic hits your Kubernetes cluster from the outside world. So a good place to start would be the project Contour page on GitHub. And you can see how it's just a piece of software that you install into your Kubernetes environment. And Contour works by deploying Envoy as a reverse proxy and load balancer. Envoy is another extremely popular open source project. It's built by Lyft, and it's very high performance. It's very flexible. And so, when we say Contour is the ingress controller functioning as a load balancer, It's really Envoy that's doing the load balancing, right? So Envoy is the layer 7 reverse proxy, and it exposes HTTP and HTTPS routes from outside of your Kubernetes cluster to applications within the cluster. Okay, so yeah, you've already moved on to the next page, but basically Contour is the control plane for Envoy, right? And Contour is dynamically configuring all of the routing rules based on user-defined ingress and services and endpoints. These are all things, if you're not familiar with Kubernetes, but these are all objects in the Kubernetes world that Envoy is not able to understand directly. So Contour is acting as that translation layer, essentially. So yeah, on this page, we have a graphical representation of what a request looks like, right? So you can see external traffic comes in and it hits your Envoy, and then it gets routed to the correct service based on the application rules that you define. Typically, you would do that on the ingress YAMLs, but we have a custom resource definition called HTTP proxy. And also for each of these resources or services, you have an app, a web application, and then you have a blog application. You can have multiple pods backing these services, and we provide various load balancing options for getting traffic to your pods. Yeah, so hopefully, this diagram at a very basic level sort of illuminates what the data path looks like. And you can see everything is taking place inside your Kubernetes cluster, right? So over here on the left, we have a layer 4 load balancer that lives outside your K8s cluster. And that could be a cloud load balancer or something that runs on-prem. And Contour is basically watching the Kubernetes API server that lives inside every Kubernetes cluster. And it's detecting any changes to different resources like ingress and services and endpoints. And it's translating these things to something that Envoy can understand, right? So this communication channel between Contour and Envoy leverages gRPC and is protected by mutual TLS. Next slide, please. So this is a brief timeline of the project, how it started and sort of where we are in the CNCF journey. We are in incubating project right now. If you look at the GitHub release page, you can see we pretty much do releases every month. Pretty prolific with the releases, and you can see some of the things that we've been working on over the last couple of releases as well. Next page, next slide, please. So we have a list here of some of the feature highlights of Contour. I don't know if I want to go over every single one of these, but I'm happy to explain any of these in detail as well. In a different session, or we can talk offline. But the Contour website is a great resource. We have detailed docs for all these features, what they are and what the motivation was, as well as some sample code. Yeah, I would just say, the first one, the dynamic configurability, is one of the biggest advantages of Contour, right? We saw in the previous diagram, any changes in your Kubernetes server is going to be reflected to Envoy right away. It's extremely lightweight. If you guys want to, get started and just try deploying it, use the getting started page on GitHub, and you can see how easy it is to install and just get traffic to your cluster. So we talked about ingress to, so on the side, yeah, sorry. So we talked about ingress to define your routing rules. And we also have the custom resource HTTP proxy. And Gateway API is really the next iteration of ingress. It's a different open source project that we leverage pretty heavily. It's effectively Ingress v2. The multi-team recursive delegation and composability is referring to this larger route delegation pattern that we have, where we have Contour being used by different personas, right? You have the Kubernetes cluster admin, and then you have different various application admins, and each team can basically manage his part of the application. Yeah, we can route HTTPS, HTTP, HTTPS, and TCP traffic from outside your TCP with TLS from outside your Kubernetes cluster to services within. and everything here is cross-platform. So as long as this is a valid ingress configuration and you're running it on a Kubernetes cluster, whether it's public cloud or bare metal or on VMs, you can use Contour as your ingress controller. Next slide, please. So again, the Gateway API is this very large chunk of work that we're working on right now. It's part of our roadmap, and it's an open source project by the Kubernetes SIG network community, and it's supposed to be providing this more reconciled representation of the different resources required for service networking in Kubernetes. So all the things you see over here on the right-hand side are the resources as they exist today in the API. The gateway class, gateway, HTTP route, service. All these resources are intended for different users to model different types of service networking. It's very expressive, it's very extensible. And so because Contour is working on layer 7 load balancing, right, we're just implementing that section of the API that describes layer 7 services. And if you go through the list of issues and release notes and some of the open PRs on the Contour repository as well as the Contour operator, you can see some of the work that we've been doing, adding support items for Gateway API. And the Gateway API project is just getting started. And some of the maintainers on the Contour project are very active in that project upstream as well. Next slide, please. So, these are some of the things that we're working on right now. It's our roadmap, which is public on GitHub. We also have a project board on GitHub, and it shows all the features that are in progress right now. And we have epics and stories broken down within those epics that track the work pretty closely. Like the project board is basically organized by swim lanes, representing different releases, right? So you can see the things that we worked on in previous releases, as well as things that are being considered for future releases. Next slide, please. So the last thing I have here is basically just a summary of the community today, right? We have some stats here on the project as a whole on GitHub, and we have different ways you can reach out to us on Slack, by email, on Twitter. A lot of these recordings for the office hours and the various community meetings are uploaded to YouTube as well. So yeah, if you go through the open issues on GitHub, you'll see that we have a lot of issues related to docs, right? And so we're definitely appreciative of any help that you guys can deliver for us in terms of writing docs and just lots of things that require docs. I think that's the last slide.
Awesome, thank you, Alex. Yeah, so I wanted to quickly just go over the issues that we have in the HackMD as well. Maybe you can drive that too, Orlin.
Yeah. Give me just a second to.
For sure. So the while you bring things up, I'll talk a bit more as well. So we're setting up this working group, and one of the reasons why we're asking for you to add your GitHub ID or GitHub handle into the meeting notes today is so we can add you to the docs working group that we have on GitHub. So Contour has a specific group or a specific team rather. So we're setting up this working group within GitHub as well. That way, if there are doc impact feature changes coming in during release time and things like that, we'll ping the working group so you can help out. In the meeting notes today, I have listed out a bunch of good first issues to get you started. And then if you want to continue on and if you want to continue to help the project, we would love for you to be a part of the community meetings that we have every Tuesday. We have them on two different time zones. One is US friendly time zone, US and kind of Europe friendly time zone at 1 p.m. on Tuesdays. And the other one is more Asia Pacific focused, where we have a 6:30 p.m. Eastern time meeting, community meeting. So you can find all that information on the Project Contour website as well. So I wanted to kind of dive into some of the issues here so you can see some of the work that we're looking for help with. So if you can open one issue at a time here, I'll just talk about the issue. So the first one is recently we moved over from a deployment system called Jekyll over to another deployment system called Hugo. So one of the requirements that we mentioned in the contributing guide is that we need Git and Hugo installed, and of course, a text editor of your choice, and then a GitHub handle. And I think you all have most of that installed already. So when we migrated over to Hugo, we noticed that there were a few versions prior to version 1.15, those docs, the API docs there, are not correctly showing up on the site. So we have fixed that for the later versions. So you can see how we fixed it for the later versions. So if you want a fairly easy one to just tackle an inclusion of the API reference properly so it can be seen on the site. There we go. Got a FaceTime call. So when you do this, you're essentially making sure that we can properly view the API reference in earlier versions. So that's what we're looking to do. So that one is fairly easy. Let's go to the next one. And if you have any questions, please just interrupt me here. I'm happy to answer any questions. This one implements a site link checker. So again, when we moved over to Hugo, the old site link checker can be updated. So we, Steve Sloka here on the call, he played around a bit with HTML Test, another open source project, to test links within the project. It would be fantastic if we could get this implemented, making sure that we don't have a bunch of broken links when we update the documentation and things like that. So this is a really neat one that will help the project in the future as well. So we'd love to see someone take this on. It would be a really good one to have. Next one, Orlin. Yeah, sorry.
And that's like semi-technical as well. It's not pure technical writing. So yeah.
Yes.
If you want to dig in more how we deploy the thing with the Hugo, that's a good point, right? Dennis, are you with us?
There we go. Sorry. Yes. So this is essentially the happy path for a basic installation of Contour. So if you look at the current documentation that we have, it shows that we have a lot of great examples for different configuration and deployment options, but there's no clear, like, here's a standard way of deploying Contour. We have some guides, we have a lot of documentation, but there's no, like, here's a good way of setting things. This requires, of course, a bit more knowledge in Contour, making sure that you understand how the project works. So this is one, if you want to be a little more involved with the project and involved with the maintainers, this is a really good one. This one is a little more technical and an interesting one where we kind of want to see how can we identify and document a stale content checking cycle, making sure that we have a way of identifying when content has gone stale. Maybe it hasn't been updated in 5 versions. Is that stale? Do we need to update it? Have we just forgotten that we have a piece of documentation? We haven't updated it and it's absolutely completely wrong. So having a way to identify stale content, making sure that we check for stale content would be super useful for the project as well. Again, This is fairly technical, doesn't require a lot of knowledge about the project itself, like the technical aspects of the project, but understanding how GitHub works and the workflow.
I'm curious, Jonas, what is like a conventional way of doing this that other projects have implemented?
So Abby has actually been working on a project for like this for Contour. So I'm going to let her answer.
Yeah, I've been working on this for the
Kubernetes, sorry.
stocks. Yeah, so there hasn't really been a way that I found. So I think what Jonas was talking about was finding an automated way to say, you know, this file hasn't been updated on the website for a period of time, or like he was saying with the different versions. So what is a way that we could say something that hasn't been updated in a year, create like an issue or some automated way to test that, to get a printed out list, to say, you know, these things haven't been updated, we should take a look at them, and then go through and like have a maintainer or somebody who's the subject matter expert go through and say, no, this is still valid, everything is fine, or there is something that needs to be updated. From my research, there hasn't really been a way that someone has found that's like very easy to implement. So it would be kind of challenging, but if anyone has any ideas, or even if you could take on it, even if it was something a little less fully automated or something that was maybe a little bit more manual, if you have any ideas, I think it's a really great thing to implement on the site or for the project. But depending on how the project wants it, how much work the project wants to take on manual, or if we want it all the way automated, I haven't found a good way to actually just, you know, easy button this, but definitely interested in other people's thoughts if you have ideas.
Cool, thanks, Abby.
Thank you. The next one here is again, a fairly simple one. So this is mostly HTML and CSS changes. So if you head over to our documentation, you will see on your left side, we have a table of contents for the different versions, of course, but within each version, we have a bunch of documents, and it gets pretty long. So you have to scroll down quite a bit to maybe find the piece that you're looking for. So what would be neat here would be to have an accordion menu. So we could just fold things into configuration, fold things into troubleshooting, and so on. So it would look a little cleaner, and people could easily find what they're looking for instead of having this long list of a table of contents. So this next one is just pointing out within the different documentation pieces that we actually have a troubleshooting section as well. It's only mentioned once within our docs that we have a troubleshooting section, and we do have a lot of troubleshooting documentation. So this is just going through the documentation and see, hey, maybe people are getting stuck here. It would be good to call out the troubleshooting section here. So going through the documentation, see where people might get stuck, and see if we can just add a little snippet there of the troubleshooting. Next one. Yes, this one. So within our getting started page, we have a getting started page, but it's fairly high level. Doesn't really explain everything in detail. So I think it would be good to update this and clarify a few different pieces within the getting started doc to make sure our users have an easy way of understanding and deploying Contour when they're trying to deploy it the first time. This one, I think, yeah, someone looks like someone has already gotten to this. So this is a small styling change for H2 headers. And one thing I haven't made an issue for yet, but something that I would like to do is to within Google Chrome and other tools, you can look for accessibility. You can do accessibility tests using the Chrome Lighthouse function. I would like to make sure that everything on the site looks good from an accessibility standpoint as well, making sure that we have proper contrast for all the font colors, especially within code blocks and things like that. That would be a fantastic issue as well if someone would like to take that on. I haven't added that yet. Anyone who's interested in that, please open an issue and run with it. All right, next one. Orlin?
Okay.
Are you there, Orlin? You go to the next one.
Yeah. Yeah. My connection.
There we go.
Is stable.
There we go.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. I don't know if it's me, but I'm hearing Orlin roboting a bit here. So this one is essentially revising the main docs landing page. When you go to the main docs, you will see it's pretty sparse. It is pretty sparse. I would love for this to be a little more descriptive. Maybe do something together with the getting started guide, maybe blend them together. Do something a little better with the docs landing page essentially. Next one.
I think I have issues with my connection, so it's a bit slow. So sorry for that. Can you see it?
Yep, absolutely. So this is a documentation change, a very, very specific documentation change. So this goes into a specific flag that accepts an integer or requires an integer. So this is just a small change within the docs that needs to be done. Most of it is explained in here already. So if someone would like to take this on, please do so.
We actually already got a pull request for this one a couple of hours ago this morning. So
oh, fantastic.
Not one to pick up, but it's a good one to reference if you want to see how someone else tackled an issue like this.
Nice. Can you open up 3820, Orlin?
There you go. Just to show. Yep. There you go.
Yeah. So this is again. I think I opened up 2 issues for the starting guide or getting started guide. So maybe we can do something different here. But yeah, this one has a little more detail, and I know Nick Young, who's the tech lead for the Contour project, wants to be involved here as well. So anyone who wants to do a little more writing here, this is a really good one to dive into. Essentially revising the getting started guide. You can see an example of what it could look like. Kind of rearranging a few items, rearranging a few docs, and revising the getting started guide here. So I think this might be, this is a really important one. So anyone who wants to dig into this and spend some quality time with Contour here, this is a really good one for that. Next one.
Did I miss this one? So it should be this one.
Next one should be 3733, I think. Yep.
Yep.
So as we moved over from Jekyll to Hugo, our site contribution documentation, how to actually build the site and so on, is not quite correct. So anyone who wants to dive into that and making it easier for everyone else who wants to contribute to the docs, that would be a fantastic one as well. So Hugo is super simple to actually set up and run. What you need to do to run the site itself is you do a clone of the repository. So you do a Git clone of the repository down to your own laptop or desktop. Then you go into the project folder, and within the project folder, you have a site folder. So you go into that site folder, and from there you run the command yugo serve. That's all you need to do. The Jekyll one was quite involved, so we can remove a lot of the information that's in the site contribution MD and just replace them with yugo equivalents. So anyone who wants to dive into that one and kind of go through the steps of how to contribute to the site and make sure that that's clear, this would be a fantastic one.
On that note, Jonas, I think we can, as I ask you, we can leverage some stuff from Harbor, for example, the simplifying steps in the running the Hugo with all the options and everything, the make file that is there. So I can add that to this issue and PR it.
Yeah, you can link the Harbor stuff in there, so someone can pick this up for sure.
Cool. And the last one.
The last one, I'm actually going to let Steve Chris talk about this one.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen this one in a while, so I'm trying to remember. So I think we made some changes to Contour's API, to the HTTP proxy API. That changed how we reported information about the current status of proxies. So I think we previously had a single field that contained a long text string containing information about if there are any errors in configuration. And we changed to using something called conditions for reporting errors, which is kind of a Kubernetes standard for reporting status. And so I believe just the documentation page that describes how this works needs to be updated to reflect the use of conditions for reporting status on HTTP proxy.
Awesome. So this is quite technical as well, diving into the project and understanding how it reports and status. All right. So that's the entire list of the issues that I wanted to bring up on today's meeting. So you have a few easy ones, just some HTML, maybe some CSS changes. You have a few more involved ones with rearranging documentation, revising, getting started guides and things like that. And then a few technical ones where you would do kind of a deep dive into the project itself and yeah, learn more about the technical aspects of the project, and then writing documentation for those specific for that specific functionality. So with that, again, a reminder here, to contribute to the project, all you need is to have Git installed, have Yugo installed, have a text editor, and then a GitHub handle. The way we do things here with regards to contributions is that you do a fork of the repository over to your own handle. So do a fork first. I think this is all explained in the contributing guide as well, but you do a fork over to your own GitHub handle. If you haven't used GitHub before, we're happy to show you how to do this as well. But you fork it, and then you clone your fork, you do edits, push them up to your fork, then do a pull request from your fork over to the project itself. So that's the whole workflow of a pull request of how to do things there. And again, to see your live changes. So this is one of the main benefits of Yugo. When you want to edit something, and this is super neat, you go into the site directory, you run Yugo serve, then you open up your text editor and you start editing things. As soon as you hit save, it will actually automatically show up on the on your local page where Yugo is being shown. So if I make a change I will see that change immediately. Within a second, that change is live on your local development environment. So it's super easy to see if the changes that you do actually take effect. Before with Jack, between seconds for a build to actually show up. So this move over to Hugo has made it so much quicker. So it's super, super nice. So yeah, this is essentially everything that you need to do. Any questions, anything that I've missed, anyone on the team, Orlin, Abby, anything that I've missed so far?
I just wanted to point out, in addition to the issues that Jonas has gone over, if you go through the Contour site, like we said, we just had a site migration, which means there are probably a lot of other things that we haven't caught. So if you're going through and you find something that looks a little wonky, or even if you find a typo, that's a really great opportunity for you to test out the pull request process that Jonas just went through before, getting into like a bigger, meatier issue. So if you're not sure about using GitHub, or you're not sure about using Hugo, and you want to kind of go through the process, I would also recommend you could just maybe find a typo or a broken link, because I'm sure there's a bunch with the site migration. So that might be a smaller way that you can kind of get through this process, and sort of learn more about what Jonas was just going through for your first contribution, and then maybe go look into something that's a little bit more meaty, if that's what you want to do.
And I can add something else. Anyone who's, as Avi said, not like feeling safe enough to do the workflow, just reach out. I can jump in on a Zoom with you, show you everything step by step from my side, how I'm doing it, and we can do it together. And you can be set up for your real first PR.
Great, thank you both.
And also shared something in chat. The Contour operator has its own set of documentation needs that are, the issues are open under the operator repository, right? So I think like all the issues you went over, Jonas, are in Contour, right? But the
Correct.
Contour operator
Yes.
is basically this another way to package and deploy Contour. And it's something that we've been spending a lot of time on, right? And it's the stuff I talked about with the gateway API. The operator goes a long way to helping support the gateway API. So I think we're going to be seeing a lot more issues in the Contour operator repository as well. So yeah, those are the two main repositories to keep an eye out for. And I think we'll
Alex, thanks for
yep.
Sorry. I say thanks for bringing attention to the chat. And I apologize for joining late, but yeah, this issue, as you can see, is pretty old. This was right when the operator got started. We knocked out a lot of the documentation needs, but there's still documentation needs there, and they just seem to kind of continue to sit on the back burner with other pressing issues. As you can see there, we've got 58 issues that need to be worked on. So I tried to turn this into kind of like the meta documentation issue for the operator. And so you could see that I was able to knock off a lot of things, but there's still some things that need to get addressed. So the documentation is pretty slim. The operator doesn't have a separate doc site or anything like that. This is, the operator is essentially part of Contour, even though it's in a separate repo. And so if you go to the Contour doc site, you'll see a getting started guide, and you'll see the operator as one of the options on how to get things started. And that's actually the first checkbox that was checked. But yeah, I just want to point this out, and if there's, if anyone's interested in helping expand the operator docs within the Contour doc site, would be very helpful. So just want to share that with everyone. Awesome, thank you, Daniel. Yeah, so with that, we have a few minutes left. We'd be happy to answer any questions you have regarding Contour, regarding contributing, regarding your setups. Does anyone have any questions?
The only question I have is Jonas is, I don't have a link to the HackMD that is being used for the discussion, I think because I joined late. Can you post that in the chat?
You can find it in the chat.
Yeah, I posted it as well.
Yeah,
so,
oh, there it is. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, perfect. So Max asked, would you be able to quickly walk us through the PR process in this piece? Orlin, do you want to do that?
Yeah. Give me a sec. So, so you go GitHub, GitHub project or. So in the project Contour space, we have few repository as we discussed the community, and the website is under the Contour one. So it's like a directory. So if you want to do a PR, you should do it from your fork. So I have forked that already. So if I do fork, it will tell me that I have that forked. In your case, when you click fork over here, it will ask you your affiliation with your account, and it will fork under your account. So you go there, and that's your fork of our repository. So then you go, for example, over here under code, and that's the few ways to clone that repository locally to your PC. So for example, you choose HTTPS, you copy that link, that's the shortcut for copying. Then, sorry, I'm gonna share my screen. Actually, I'm gonna share my term, and then you go on some terminal of your choice, and I have, for example, Go source, and then you can practically you have to clone that repository somewhere. So I have Contour, and I have few directories there. So Contour, and okay, I'm gonna do it like this. I'm gonna create a temp1 temp directory, and I'm gonna do like this. So git clone, and that one that you copied from GitHub. So that will copy your fork locally. So then you have pretty much everything from that repository, the Contour repository, and in this case we are discussing the things that we want to change in the site directory. So that's the website. So you go under site, and our project migrated to main branch instead of master. So my workflow is I work getting some messages that my internet is not stable enough. Hello?
I can do a quick show as well. So
yeah,
let me see if I can do this.
I'm not sure what's going on, but it says unstable connection. So I'm not sure if I'm breaking out or, and if it's painful to listen, maybe it's not the best that I'll do it right now.
It's pretty good now.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
You can continue.
Okay. So my workflow is I do branches. So I can do git branch, and let's say my first PR, and then I'm gonna check out that branch. Again, if someone is new to all this, just reach out to me, and we can do that offline, not in the office hours, but even in the office hours, we can spend the next office hours doing this stuff and like educating folks how to do this. So let's say I want to change something, and as Jonas said, we need a good editor. So in my case, I use VS Code. So I'm gonna do like this. I'll open everything pretty much, and let's say what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna change the index.
Can't see your code right now because you're just sharing the terminal.
Sorry. Yeah. So okay, I'm gonna share my entire screen. Maybe you can see some stuff that you're not supposed to see, but but yeah. Okay, so that's my code, and as Jonas said, it's very easy with Hugo. It's very easy to follow your changes. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna show you how we do that. So you should have Hugo installed, and if you run Mac as I'm doing, you can install it through Brew, or you can download the executable right away, or if you're on Windows, you can follow just the Windows procedure, or Linux, whatever. So to serve the website, you do Hugo serve, I think. Serve. No, what is the command over here? I totally forgot. So okay, we go project contour site. Okay. Keep the server. Okay. No. Hey guys, I need some help. I'm not doing something right.
Yeah, it looks like Hugo isn't really working for you. But yeah, that's the command. Otherwise, Hugo serve or Hugo server, both work.
There.
If you have Docker, you can also just do make site -devel. And you don't need to have
make site.
Make site -devel. All one word. Site.
Devel. Okay.
Yeah, like develop, but short for devel. Yeah. I'll hit enter.
Like this.
Yep. Go down a level. You're up. You're in too far. Go back to the main contour. CD ...
Oh, okay.
You're one level too high.
Like this. Okay.
Yeah. Now do it from here. Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, you need to update the site. Looks like you got an old.
Yeah, that's still the Jekyll
Okay.
one.
Okay,
but yeah.
Okay, I was not prepared for that demo anyway. But okay, I can show that. I think in the Harbor one, it's the same thing. So Harbor. So Harbor website, and I think it's make serve. Actually, I'm gonna add that same makefile to the contour project. So at least I find it very useful.
That's
So
what site devel does. It's the same thing.
The same thing. Okay.
It's already there. Yeah. You just need to update your contour fork. Your fork's out of date.
Yeah, but okay. So it's the same process. We use the Hugo, and if we just want to show the show the changes website, and for example code sorry, let's find out something. Any good idea which one to change so it can be shown right away?
Yeah, you can change the I don't know where you are right now, but you can change the index. If you go into partials, for instance, and you go to the footer.
Footer? Where is it? Yeah.
And just type something in there, and then you will change the footer.
Yeah. So let's see.
So you can switch up GitHub to something else, for instance. Or logos on line 20 something.
But I want to show the website first, and that thing should be changed, right? Yeah, so you edit, you save, you go back, and it's rendered automatically. So that was the whole thing that I want to show you.
Perfect.
Not sure how not sure how clean this demo was, but okay, I was totally unprepared for this one. Sorry for that. So back to the process. So let's say we want to change something. So we want to change some, I don't know. For example, something in the on the website. Let's say we want to change something in community MD. That's the file, and so we want to say we want to change, for example, what this hours. We save that. We go back to the console, and when we do git status, we'll see the changed file. So we do add that file in particular, if you want. Then that's the tricky thing that I learned by mistake. So I mean, we have to sign off all our PRs. So when you add your file, and then when you about to create your PR, you have to do so commit, and then -s is the -s is the key that you're gonna sign it off with your GitHub handle. So the checks that we do on the PR shows that it's signed by you, so you say you made it. That's what I'm talking about over here. So we're gonna name that like office hours test. Not much information right now. And then we're gonna save and exit. I use Vim for my editor for Git messages. You can use wherever you want. And then if you do git push to your it will complain. I missed this one to show, and nobody told me. So when you clone, when I initially cloned my fork, I added it. So that fork of mine is added as something called region. You have to follow the guide for GitHub how to set up your remote to add the upstream, so you can sync your fork with the upstream one. So you have up to date all the changes, which is in this case is not done. So I have my test PR set up, so I have to push it, and if I do git push, it will say okay, set the upstream. Git is very helpful in this regard. So you do git push. As I said, I'm not prepared for that demo, man. So that, Jonas, that was not fair of yours. Anyway.
No, it's fine. So yeah, I just want to make sure that we wrap up here. So
yeah,
the process here is that Orlin would push this up to his fork in another branch, and from there you can do a pull request, and that's essentially it. So it will actually show you here in the console as well. Click this link to create a new pull request with this change. So you can just go there too. So that's an easy way to do this. So fork, clone, edit, push, PR. So 5 steps essentially.
I would also recommend if you're new to Git and you're not sure about using the things in the command line, GitHub offers a desktop application, which might be blasphemous for people who are more advanced in the Git command line, but I use the Git Desktop all the time. It does all of the stuff, all the same stuff that you just watched Orlin do. It just gives you the GUI, so you can kind of see what files you've changed, what your changes are, and go through these process more in the UI instead of in the command line until you've sort of beefed up your skills if you're not as familiar with Git.
There are also YouTube videos you can watch. Walks you through the whole process.
And we're all here to help.
Yeah, and if it's easier for everyone, I can do like a recording demo, which I'm more prepared to do, not on the fly. So I can do that in the next days and post it online if that would be useful for the new team members.
I think that would be a fantastic idea. I like that, Orlin.
Okay. I'll make sure I get it like next week, midweek or something. If that works for everyone. I need to get it set up and edit it and everything, so that will take a few days.
Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. I want to make sure that we wrap up here. We've gone over a little. I want to thank everyone for being a part of this. Thank you so much for volunteering. We're looking forward to working with you in the next coming weeks here, making sure that you can get your changes in, your edits in. We're really looking forward to working with you all. And as I said, we have community meetings on Tuesday. So if you would like to join the community meetings and hear about what the team is doing and what we're working on, and things that new features that are coming in that you might be interested in documenting and things like that, please do so. Would be super awesome.
Yeah.
Apologies for the noise in the background here. So with that, thank you, everyone.
Thanks to everyone for attending. It's quite a turnout.
Yeah, thank you. And if you have questions, just reach out to us in the channel, and we'll respond as fast as possible.
Maybe not. Maybe it's not so urgent, but maybe at some point we could just, have a list somewhere that talks about who works on what, right? So if people are working on specific features, they know who to reach out to, like which maintainer, because different maintainers specialize in different parts of Contour, as well as the Contour operator. So
yeah, that'll work, but I prefer just keep everything in the public channel so we all can chat together. DMing is a bad way to move forward. I think we should all be able to work together in the same channel.
Yeah, so again, if you want to add yourself to an issue, just comment on the issue and say, hey, I would like to work on this, because then we know as well who's working on what.
is the Slack channel already set up, Jonas?
We're using the Contour, the regular Contour channel.
Okay. Sounds good.
Great. Okay, with that, I think we can wrap up and see you next time.
Thank you, everyone. Have a fantastic rest of the week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.